I said I find it hard to believe that he would do that knowing that he himself had beat me up for 5 years.
There is an abuser in this courtroom, but it is not Mr. Depp.
I know how many people will come out and say whatever for him. That's his power.
But you didn't expect Mr. Baruch to weep for Mr. Depp. After what you've put him through and so many others with your lies.
I've never heard Johnny claim that.
You didn't expect Keenan Wyatt.
Johnny has never actually said that.
Ms. Heard, the evidence presented at this trial has shown that Ms. Heard is in fact the abuser and Mr. Depp the abused.
Camille Vasquez, la abogada de Johnny Depp, cuestionó a Amber Heard, a quien culpó de destruir la vida del actor después de publicar un artículo de opinión en el diario The Washington Post.
Ms. Heard, at the beginning of your cross-examination last week, I showed you an audio where you told Mr. Depp to tell the jury, tell the judge, tell the world that he is a victim of domestic abuse. Do you remember that?
That's correct.
And you testified you found it hard to believe that Mr. Depp would tell the world that he's a victim of domestic abuse, didn't you?
I said I find it hard to believe that he would do that knowing that he himself had beat me up for 5 years.
But he has told the world that he's your victim of domestic abuse, hasn't he?
Well, he started to say that only recently. He didn't make that claim up until very recently. So when we signed our divorce agreement and we signed a statement saying that neither party had ever said false claims for financial gain, it was relevant and important to me because I was the only one making the accusations. I was the only one making those claims. He wasn't doing that at the time, and he signed his name to it.
You didn't expect as many people to show up and testify on his behalf that did you?
Incorrect.
When you told this jury under oath that you never assaulted, actually, strike that. When you told this jury under oath that you punched Mr. Depp because you thought of Mr. Depp pushing Kate Moss down the stairs, you didn't expect Miss Moss to agree to testify that never happened, did you?
Incorrect. I know how many people will come out of the woodwork to be in support of Johnny.
So you think Miss Moss needs to come out of the woodwork to testify for Mr. Depp?
Everybody who was around in the 90s and the early aughts knew that rumor. I had heard that rumor from multiple people. Of course, that's what flashed through my head when my violent husband not only swung for me, but all of a sudden swung for my sister. Of course I thought of that. I did not expect her to show up or not expect her to show up. It didn't matter. It doesn't change what I believed at the time when we were on the stairs and I thought he was going to kill my sister by pushing her down the stairs.
You told this jury under oath that Mr. Depp was aggressive and trashed a trailer in Hicksville. You didn't expect the manager of the Hicksville property, Morgan Knight, to come forward and testify that wasn't true, did you?
Incorrect. I've already been through trials with this man. I know how many people will come out in support of him. I know how many people will come out and say whatever for him. That's his power. That's why I wrote the op-ed. I was speaking to that phenomenon. How many people will come out in support of him and will fall to his power? He is a very powerful man, and people love currying favor with powerful men.
Curry favor and commit perjury in this courtroom?
I have seen people do this.
Man?
I have seen people do this time and time again. That's why I wrote the op-ed.
But you didn't expect Mr. Baruch to weep for Mr. Depp. After what you've put him through and so many others with your lies.
I relate.
2 years later, when promoting the biggest role of her career until this trial, Ms. Heard presented herself to the world as a public figure representing domestic abuse. The headline of the op-ed featured the term sexual violence, even though she had never before accused her ex-husband of such a heinous crime. Ms. Heard and her lawyers love to remind you of how the op-ed did not mention Mr. Depp by name. But Ms. Heard made sure that there would be no mistake about who she was referring to. She inserted 2 years ago, so the world would remember the photo of a battered woman, the mark on her face, standing outside the courthouse, and they would once again see Mr. Depp as the villain, this time in full swing of the Me Too movement. But what was happening behind closed doors was quite different from what Ms. Heard presented to the world. The exact opposite, in fact. There is an abuser in this courtroom, but it is not Mr. Depp. And there is a victim of domestic abuse in this courtroom, but it is not Ms. Heard. The evidence presented at this trial has shown that Ms. Heard is in fact the abuser, and Mr. Depp the abused.
Tras 2 meses de juicio, ahora todo está en las manos de 7 miembros del jurado, quienes se encuentran deliberando y definirán si Amber Heard deberá pagarle $50 millones. Soy Carla Álvarez y esto es Notibomba.